Okay, we have a great interview lined up. They met several weeks ago, but she's back. We have our aviation enthusiast, Rich Kaplan, is going to interview Dolores Hofman, and they're going to talk about their passion for aviation. So let's fly with Rich Kaplan.
Thank you, Howie. Well, first of all, it's a privilege to finally have the chance to interview you, because we've been trying to get together for this, and now we finally have, and I'm really happy about that. First female forklift operator, that is quite a title. Tell us about it.
Well, I had no plans of breaking that glass ceiling when I did. I was working in the office at Pan Am, and I was actually a political leftover. My manager left, and the new boss that came in didn't like the one that left, and so
By the way, can we have a picture of Dolores on the front page? How cool is this, folks? All right.
My story, one of the greatest write-ups that I've ever had. That's great. 50 Plus magazine.
All right, love it.
Anyway, I was a Teamster at the time, even though I was an assistant, personal assistant, and I looked at the bid board and waited for another office position to come up, and nothing did for 3 months, and finally a position came up that was entitled Cargo Service Agent, and they were looking for 5 individuals. I put my bid in. I was the senior qualified bidder. However, the other higher echelon in cargo, one at a time, called me in to say, one said, "You're never going to have children if you take on this job." Another said, "Don't forget, your probation period is 3 months. If you don't pass, you're out on the street, out of a job." Another one said, "You're going to be the laughingstock of Kennedy Airport." Anyway, it was that or resigning, and I love aviation till this day. And so I said, "You have to give me a chance." So they decided to put me through a 2-hour physical at Pan Am Medical. And the only thing the doctor can come up with, I was in my mid-20s and in excellent condition, was that my physical stature was too weak to do the job. So I said, of 150 warehousemen, I'll point out at least a half a dozen whose physical stature is slighter than mine. And so I had the support of my husband. He was laying a tile floor in our dining room at the time. And he said, "You don't stoop, you don't bend, you stoop," and gave me all kinds of information on how to do the job correctly. Well, I embarrassed more men into doing more work than you could ever imagine. I had trucks lined up from California and all over the country waiting for the girl to come back from her break, because God forbid, as a Teamster, I didn't take my breaks for the full amount of time that was allotted. So I could probably, and maybe will one day, write a book about that experience. It was wonderful. And when you do a job and then go into management, nobody can pull the wool over your eyes, because you know what that job is like. So it was an experience of a lifetime with no regrets.
Fantastic. In '89, you left your position and became a corporate recruiter at Pan American World Airways, and then you left that and became director of personnel for Evergreen International, which is phenomenal considering the fact that Evergreen's no longer with us, unfortunately. They folded, which I was very surprised by. I don't know of anyone else, but I was caught off guard by that. Now, in 1991, you assumed your present position as program manager of the Queen's Air Surface Development Office, or the ASDO, as a nonprofit organization designed to match aviation purchasing needs of JFK and LaGuardia with local enterprises. What is that like? And with your cargo background, how has it helped you in developing that position?
Well, because of my cargo background, I sat on the board of directors for the Air Cargo Association for about 20 years and helped them out in many ways. I'm still affiliated with the organization. It's a wonderful organization. My position now, I match airport tenants with local Queens-based businesses. It was a thought of the Queensboro president way back in 1984 when she was served a bagel made in New Jersey that was called a New York bagel. And she said, hey, with this much noise pollution, air pollution, and traffic, we really need to pay back the businesses who have their business in Queens County for all those negatives. And she went to the Port Authority. Port Authority agreed, and the program was born. And so they fund my program along with their airline partners. I'm administered by the Aviation Development Council with a sister company in New Jersey who handles the Newark, Teterboro, and even Stewart, even though that's New York, it's closer. So we help an awful lot of people. The Port Authority does so much good for the community that people don't realize. In this position, I'm an advisor to the Board of Directors for the JFK Chamber of Commerce, past Vice President of the JFK Rotary. I've been affiliated with just about every airport organization there is and wouldn't trade one day of, it will be 52 years in December that I'm working at Kennedy, and once aviation is in your blood, it just stays there and you long for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been bit by the aviation bug when I was a kid, and I'm just very passionate about it. I love it. I live for it. It's pretty much my life. So I totally understand where you're coming from. You've won many awards, but the one that I was most impressed by, actually, there's several that I listed. In '97, you received the Bishop Wright Air Industry Award. Tell us about that. And also, in 2003, Our Lady of the Skies named you their Woman of the Year, which is quite an accomplishment, I imagine, because you're the only person ever to have won both. So what is that like?
It's an honor that was almost as good at being crowned Miss New York Senior America in 2016. What did I say? My sacks were not off with that one. But what happened is actually, the Protestant Chapel awarded me their Woman of the Year, and there were quite a few years in between. And I'm on the Guild for Our Lady of the Skies, the Catholic chapel at Kennedy. And they forgot that the Protestants awarded me that. And so they awarded me too, and it's one that once someone receives one of those two prestigious awards, the other chapel doesn't pick the same person twice. So I kind of slipped through and am the only one, both female or male, that actually holds that. So one of the biggest honors, yes.
That's just fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, you mentioned you've worked at JFK for 51 years, so obviously you found something you totally love and you're sticking with it. But the other thing that a lot of our viewers may not know is that in 2016 you became Miss New York Senior America and placed in the top 10, which is quite an accomplishment. I mean, I'm just glowing thinking about that. Now, you're currently an advisor to the board of JFK, as you pointed out, Chamber of Commerce. How is JFK, a lot of people don't know the cargo operations side of JFK. They only see the passenger side when they come in. They see these gorgeous cathedrals of glass, and they see then they're harkened back to the days of the jumbo jets and so forth. They don't realize there is a whole other city in JFK for cargo. Tell us about that and give our viewers an idea of just what that city is like and how it made you who you are today.
It's an absolutely amazing city. I think there was a time that the airlines were making more money from shipping cargo than shipping passengers. It is a community within the community. The Air Cargo Association, as well as CAMCO Cargo Operations Committee. CAMCO stands for Kennedy Airport Airlines Management Council, and it is comprised of all the station managers of Kennedy Airport who run the passenger end. CAMCO Cargo is all the cargo managers who run the cargo departments for all of these respective airlines. All of them work together, as well as the CAMCO and CAMCO Cargo working together. And it is just as important as shipping passengers, I mean, well, at least cargo can't complain when something goes wrong, but the shippers and consignees just might, have a word or two. But it is just as important as the passenger end of the airlines.
Now, you worked as a forklift operator, so you got to work very closely with a lot of aircraft. So you've seen the aircraft grow throughout the years. What has impressed you the most in your 51 years as far as aviation is concerned in growth? What is the one element that you find to be most impressive?
Wow. In some ways, we've gone backwards. I hate to say that. I feel so blessed and privileged that I got to travel in the good old days when we were served with china and crystal and linen and flowers on our tray, etc., etc. Now, it isn't quite the adventure it used to be. However, the efficiency with the number of passengers that are able to be processed through our airports is totally amazing. And the work that they're doing now to improve both Kennedy and LaGuardia airports is absolutely amazing. They will both be state-of-the-art when the construction is complete. I'm very much impressed with the aircraft that are flying today. I like a little more hip room, but what could I say? It's a lot about the dollar, and times have certainly changed with security and otherwise. But something impresses me every day of my life at the airport. What can I say?
Now, Dolores, you're also being inducted into the Pan American Museum Hall of Fame. Tell us about the event and what it's going to be, what it means to you.
Actually, I was the first group being inducted 3 years ago. And who knew that when I was driving that forklift, it would get me into a Hall of Fame, along with captains who have written books and flight attendants who have done lots of great things. And little old me on my forklift, I'm there with them all. This year will be our third. It's being held at the Cradle of Aviation Museum on September 29th. Anybody interested can go to the panammuseum.org. And our guest this year is Frank Abagnale, the real guy who played or was Catch Me If You Can. So we're really excited about the event. The museum is all about keeping Pan Am alive. Looking forward to it.
Definitely, I'm going to try to go to this, so I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much, Dolores. It's been an absolute pleasure to interview you. Thank you so much.
Excellent job, Rich, and excellent job, Dolores.